Lesar. Morning, guys. To have you here. I spoke to a number of your shareholders over the last 24 hours, I guess it is. Many have a very hard time arguing with the strategic rationale behind the deal, but a few certainly said, man, you're paying a big price, and they worry that it's too much. What do you tell them?
I tell them we are putting a great company together. We're not doing this transaction for next quarter, next year, but for the next 10 and 20 years. And we've created a fantastic company, great people, great technology, and a great U.S. company that's going to make a lot of jobs.
Another question I've gotten that people want to ask is why now? In terms of timing, it's not as though this idea was foreign to you or something that you might not have thought about a year ago or a year from now. The approach, I'm told, by the people who worked on the deal was about 5 weeks ago. You got it done fairly quickly. But why, in particular, choose to move at this time?
Well, basically, I believe stronger is better, and I don't care what the market is throwing at you at any point in time. We'll be a bigger company. We'll have more product lines. We'll have more technology. We'll have about 140,000 employees. So I don't care what the market throws at us. We're going to be in good shape.
But is it about oil prices or not?
It was not oil price driven. It was the right time to put these companies together.
Why the right time then? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Because as you look at the expansion of the unconventionals in the U.S., the growth in the deep water in other parts of the world, the national oil companies demanding more from the service companies, I just thought a bigger, stronger, integrated company was what was needed to compete in this marketplace.
David, last week there was a conference call that really set this group down. First, thank you for being on the show, son. Be rude. John Lindsay, who's a really terrific CEO, replaced Mr. Helmerich, and Helmerich they just said, look, I've said over and over, when it gets to 75, when I get 75, that's when people change their drilling budgets. We're at 75. Are people changing their drilling budgets?
People are looking at their drilling budgets at this point in time. I've always said a fair way for the oil and gas operators, especially the unconventional players in the U.S., is between $80 and $100. What really hurts the industry is the volatility. Our industry is a great adaptable industry. If prices will go somewhere and sit for a while, our customers, the service companies, and everybody will be able to adapt and make money at that level.
I like the fairway analogy because the question then becomes, where's the bunker, right?
We're not in the bunker yet.
At what number would we be in a bunker?
You know what? If I could predict where oil prices were going, I wouldn't be sitting here as the CEO at Halliburton. I'd be sitting in the Bahamas somewhere, probably sipping on a nice drink.
Maybe I drunk the Kool-Aid of Jim Brown, your great president of the Western Hemisphere. But I always thought you were so technologically superior to Baker Hughes that you wouldn't want to be joined with them.
No, really what Baker brings to us is some complementary product lines in areas that we did not have a very large presence. Production chemicals is one, artificial lift is another. So from a complementary standpoint, they did have some technology that we did not have. Plus they have some fantastic people. It's a talented organization. Combined with our talented people, I think we're putting together the industry bellwether.
You talked about it, hiring more people, but one of the things that I've always been really proud of what Halliburton's doing in this country is you've probably been one of the biggest hirers in this country. If you put Baker Hughes and Halliburton together, then it would seem to be that there would be less bidding for talent. When I go on the Help Wanted, you're there, Baker Hughes is there. Why would there not be let's say, a nice break for Halliburton shareholders and not as good for the worker?
No, both companies are growing today. And as you alluded to it earlier, we're going to hire 21,000 people just in Halliburton this year. That's a lot of jobs for Americans, not only blue collar, but white collar and professionals. You add that to the capability, the growth we're seeing out of Baker, and I think it actually expands career opportunities, not only for existing employees, but those that we want to hire going forward.
Your deal included the willingness on your part to divest businesses worth $7.5 billion in revenues, a $3.5 billion breakup fee, all of this to address at least concerns about antitrust impediments here in this country. I wonder, though, about those national oil companies. You mentioned them. In China, for example, where we've seen a great deal of antitrust opposition lately to deals, are you concerned that the national oil companies in some of these other countries are going to have antitrust concerns that perhaps are greater than we have here?
Actually, not really. We did a big reach out yesterday after we made the announcement. We talked to almost all of our large customers. The feedback has been unanimous and it's been positive. national oil companies in particular. They see that, a stronger, more well-developed organization can help them in a way that neither of us could standing on our own.
Unanimous. I mean, in other words, nobody had a concern?
I have not heard from a single customer that does not like this deal.
In terms of the asset sales that may have to take place, I'm curious, have you gotten a lot of inbound inquiries already on some of those assets?
I can tell you, when we announced this deal yesterday, I have a big email box. My email box filled up with people, private equity, public companies, private companies, wanting to basically look at anything that we might have to dispose of. But I say, let's let the process go forward with antitrust. We don't believe that we're going to have to dispose with the $7.5 billion. Whatever we do, we will, but there will be very many willing buyers out there.
Well, what I was concerned about, among a number of things, is that let's say you do have to divest. I mean, right now the idea is you put Baker Hughes together with Halliburton, you go up against Schlumberger. It's one-stop shop, one-stop shop. What happens if the Justice Department makes you divest stuff that makes it so that you're back in the same conundrum?
We don't see that happening. We have the best antitrust counsel out there. We have studied this thing to death, as you can imagine. We would not have done this deal if I didn't believe we would get it through the regulatory bodies and emerge with a company that is stronger than both of us going in.
We're going to get a Senate vote on Keystone today. Think it gets done?
Who knows? I hope so. It probably will get approved through the Senate, but whether it gets approved after that is anybody's guess.
Any ramifications for a veto on that front?
Not for our business. I mean, I think it would be another good solid indicator of what can happen from an energy standpoint in this country. I mean, you look at the unconventionals, both oil and gas. You look at the production that the service companies and our operators and our customers are doing here in the U.S. It's giving us energy independence. It's creating jobs. It's developing technology. All of that, I think, is fantastic for the U.S. in the long run. And I think everyone should work together to make this beyond dream continue to come true.
Let's come back to the stock price for a moment. It was down rather sharply yesterday, although to be fair, when investors first heard about the prospects of this deal, it had moved up. The Heard on the Street column in the Journal today, though, writes the following. I'd like to get your reaction. Your shareholders with 64% of the combined company would be entitled to, they say, $7.1 billion of the $11 billion in synergies or something along those lines in present value terms that you're talking about. But they say that doesn't even cover the $8.2 billion cash part of the deal. For Halliburton investors, the deal's benefits will have to come from the stock being rewarded with a higher multiple down the line, and that's where it comes from. Do you agree?
This is a great company we're putting together. And so, yes, some of it comes from synergies. We didn't do this deal for the synergies. We did this deal for the people we get, for the technology we get, for the footprint that we get. I do believe that the multiple will increase, but all of our shareholders are going to benefit from this thing. I can't be more excited about this thing. And all of our shareholders I talked to yesterday, especially the long holders, they like this deal. They understand why it came together. As I said, this is not a deal for next quarter or next year. This is a company that 10, 20, 30 years from now, people are going to look back on and say, man, that was a fantastic idea. And what a huge amount of value it's created.
Some of the people who advised in the deal tell me the ultimate goal is to get a multiple similar to or equal to that of Schlumberger. Do you believe that you will be able to command that?
That's certainly going to be my goal.
No, one of the things that I've always loved about Halliburton, he's got this big buyback. You've been in there. I've been recommending your stock for years because you have the greatest conviction. Suddenly you're just issuing a lot of stock. I mean, you have to understand that some people who just love the fact that you were putting your money where your mouth is now saying, wow, I don't know. I mean, you're issuing a ton.
We believe this transaction will be accretive 1 year, accretive from a cash flow standpoint 1 year after we close. We are also committing to take the divestiture proceeds and buy back shares with that. So if you take that combination, Jim, I can tell you, we are laser focused on returns to shareholders. We are laser focused on getting that money back to them, and we are not backing off that. You will see money coming back, and you'll continue to see buybacks.
I want to return to the Helmerich issue. To me, when I talk to people in the field, using your technology, the idea that a field might, a well might have cost $70 at $70, and you're now getting, say, it for $40 a barrel. I mean, shouldn't that mean that as you lower the cost cost of drilling that the oil firms will not cut back?
Well, I think, if the combination of technology, the combination of efficiency that we are bringing to the table has in fact reduced the days to drill a well, which means the cost to drill that well is lower. And therefore, I think that as oil prices do decline, I think people will be more reluctant to give up their rigs, give up their spotted line, and as I said, we're just really positive about this new company and where the U.S. oil industry is going.
And we're going to let you go in a sec. But finally, to this point, the fall in oil, though, I mean, isn't that taking CapEx budgets down, even though it may be less expensive to drill a well?
It is, but as I said, volatility is bad. Finding the fairway is good. And so if oil prices settle into a range and stay there for a while, we are an adaptable industry, both our customers and the service companies, and we can make money. Just give us time to get there.
If oil goes to 65, does this still happen?
It will have marginal impact on us.
Mr. Lesar, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. Dave Lesar, Chairman and CEO of Halliburton.